All right. Here we are. Welcome everybody to the next edition of STATURDAY Chat Live here on December 4th, 2021. We are all here doing our best to live the dream. I'm so happy that you are here with me today. If you wait a couple minutes for the chat to fill up. So a couple things about today. It's going to be a little bit different. As you might have noticed in the description for this live stream, I'm going to try a few new things today, and I'm going to need your help to do that, because I want to take this live stream to the next level when we go into 2022, do some different things, hopefully have some more sort of engagement between us and some more learning experiences, and just make it kind of new and cool and stuff like that. So that's going to be my goal as we get more people here into the stream, and we'll see how that works, and you can give me your feedback. So what else is going on? Let's see. So last week was Thanksgiving week here in the US, and I'm sure other parts of the world. So I've taken a little bit of time off just to rest, recuperate, visit with some family and friends, and see how everyone there is doing. It's hard to see people the past couple of years, so I went and visited my grandparents, and I hope you all are doing well also. And next couple of weeks for the live stream will be mostly normal. So we'll have a live stream 2 weeks from today, which I believe will be the 18th? I do believe it's the 18th of December. So we'll do a live stream then. But then the next weekend is actually Christmas Day. It's Christmas weekend. And then the next weekend is New Year's, that happened to fall on both weekends this year. So I probably will not do a live stream until after New Year's, because of Christmas and then New Year's Day and everything that's going on. So that's going to be the gist of everything. I do want to give a shout out to all those students out there. This is obviously the end of the fall semester. So if you are bearing down and have or are currently working on finals, your exams, I want to give you all the happiness and strength and encouragement and everything that you will need to get through this final push of your semester here this fall. You belong here. You can do this, and with the right amount of effort and just taking care of yourself in terms of your physical self, your mental self, your spiritual self, and your psychological self, and everything, you'll do okay. So if you're in exam season right now, hang tough. If you're an instructor in exam season, hang tough too, as I know that that can be very stressful on the instructor side too, having been there myself. So comments in the chat, if you would, and I'll get to those the best I can. So if you are new to the stream here, just kind of how this works, I do my best to answer whatever questions and comments you put in the chat. I do not have the ability to necessarily answer all of them right at this moment. I may not get to them all at this moment, but I try to get back and maybe answer them at a later time the best I can. So if you could just put your comments and stuff in the chat, and I'll get to them the best I can. So, all right, what's going on? So good evening, John. Good evening. So everyone's in a different part of the world, obviously. So it's good to see you. Rishi, good to see you. Thank you for stopping by the live stream. It's very good to see you. Thank you for coming by. So what's kind of new here in the live stream? And I'll show you a few things that I've tried to do to spruce up this live stream, and we'll see what happens from there. So obviously this is the way you're used to seeing me on the live stream, but what I've tried to do is give you a little variety. Hey, and you can kind of see the behind the scenes here in the basement studio. So this is what it looks like from where I sit when I do the live stream. So you can see the camera right there. And then this is where I do all the YouTube work. So I sit here and record everything, and edit everything to get out to you. So yeah, so this is a little bit of behind the scene cam that I put into place. This is an old camcorder that I bought like 10 years ago. Been sitting collecting dust. So I'm like, and what the hell? I'll put it to use. So I bolted it up here to this little rig, turned it on, hooked it into my little switcher here, and now we have like a behind the scenes look. So we have this look, and then also with this little device, you can see here, this little switcher, I can hook up my iPad. I did not do that today because I'm still working on some technical things with it, but I can hook up the iPad and draw on the iPad, which is pretty cool, right? And in addition to this view, we have this view, but also we have Nature Cam. Look at that. So this is Nature Cam. This is my backyard, and you know how I like to go out into nature and do walking and enjoy the outdoors. So this is a live picture of my backyard. I call it Nature Cam, and it won't necessarily always be set up like this, but what it can do is I can move that camera. I can actually carry it with me. It's a wireless HDMI signal, so I can actually carry it around and show you things and do demonstrations and other stuff like that. So we have some new views here on the stream, and I'm working on doing some more stuff. So obviously, this behind me is totally fake. Like, this is not real. This is a backdrop. So I don't have floor to ceiling windows in my house. I love my house, don't get me wrong, but my house is not this fancy at all. This is fake behind me. The backdrop is right behind me right here, but this is actually my backyard, which is nice. So yeah, those are some little things we're doing here. All right, house we got. We have Gavin. How you doing, buddy? Hope everything is going well with your project, and yeah, I hope you're learning some things from the work you are doing. It's good to talk to you. Pro setup, not sure about that, but we'll see how it goes. Just trying to do a little bit different thing here and there. Pretty nice place you got. Thank you, Natika. Thank you very much. As I always say, I do my best to pronounce everyone's name properly as it should be. But of course, I have many viewers from overseas, so I'm not familiar with some of those names, but I do my best. Okay, I do my best. So, what else is going on? I do want to just drop a little thing here in the bottom. Super chats and PayPal tips are welcome. It helps the channel a great deal. After doing that on the live stream last time, some of you were very generous with super chats and a few PayPal tips, which go back into the channel, of course. So I know everyone struggles, but if you have a few dollars here or there, buy me a cup of coffee, put a couple of dollars in the into the channel. It helps me with captions and all the other stuff I have to do to run the channel. So I do appreciate your generosity. All right. So what else is going on? One of the things we are going to do during this live stream is I'm going to try out an interactive sort of it's not a presentation. It's sort of an interactive activity between us. So I'm trying out some new things where we can go back and forth, and it might evolve into things I do in the channel and stuff like that. So it's similar to Kahoot. You may have heard of Kahoot, Kahoot, but it's not exactly like Kahoot. It's a bit different. Excuse me. And we're gonna have some back and forth, and I want you to test this out for me. I want to run it, and I'm gonna see how it is with your experience. Okay, so here in a couple of minutes, I'm going to fire that up. You don't have to sign in or log into anything. I'll just give you a link, and then you open that up on your phone or your computer or tablet or whatever you have with you, and just kind of go along. And I want to know what the experience is like on your end, so I know whether or not this is something I can explore further and see if it's a viable way to have some back and forth interaction between us. So, excuse me. Sinuses are acting up a little bit. So, all right. Couple of questions here. Can PCA remove overfitting? It can. So dimensionality reduction can sometimes reduce overfitting. However, I think I covered this in another video. If you reduce your dimensions to too many dimensions, then you can overfit the dimensions. Does that make sense? So the dimension reduction has to be limited enough so we don't recreate the problem of overfitting, but in that case with our dimensions. So we just have to be careful with how we implement things like PCA and other dimensionality reduction techniques. So depends. All right, so Where are you all in the live stream from? I never really asked that, and I should ask that every time. So I'm going to make a note to always ask where everyone is coming in from. So I'm in Cincinnati, and you can't see my shirt here. That's the University of Cincinnati. They play a huge football game today. So after this live stream, yours truly will be putting my butt in my chair and watching some football today because it's a huge college football weekend here in the U.S. So where are you all from? Post where you're all from, and then we'll start this interactive activity. I've seen a few people to kind of help me out with it, and we'll see how it goes. So Sarah from Rochester, awesome, nice to see you, Sarah. Thanks for stopping by the live stream today. I appreciate it. So, is anyone new here? Anyone new to the live stream today? That'd be cool to know that as well. So, here in 3 minutes, I'm going to start the interactive activity that I want you to kind of help me with. It won't take a whole lot of time. You don't have to give any information or log in or anything. It's very low stakes for you. So, yeah, we'll start that here in a few minutes. I do want to get your feedback on that. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on data transformation from non-normal to normal? Do you recommend trying goodness of fit test first? Well, you can. So I'm actually doing, as you might be aware, I'm doing some videos on this topic as we speak. So data transformations, when looking at whether or not it's normal to start with, usually it's best just to eyeball it. So look at the histogram. You know, you can lay a curve over the histogram to see if it's normal. You can do it that way. You can do the quantile plot to see if it falls along that straight line if you want. That's an easy way to do that. So first, just making sure that the data does deviate from normal. Of course, there are quantitative tests that can do that. So the Kolmogorov-Smirnov, I think, is one of those. Sometimes I get all the names sort of mixed up. So yeah, so there are numerical measures you can do that, but usually you can just do it by eye, using the histogram or the quantile plot. And then you can try different transformations. So I talked about the square root transformation, the multiplicative inverse transformation, the log transformation, and just make sure you realize that you're working with that transformed data as you proceed forward. So you can try a goodness of fit test in terms of whether or not it fits the normal distribution, but oftentimes we just look at it and eyeball it. Okay. All right. Following your advice, but first time live. Awesome. Thanks for coming by the first time. I really, really appreciate you coming by for the first time. It's very good to see you. All right. Sarah, I really appreciate your formative videos, helping me to understand the concepts. Good. That's why I do them for you. So look, people like me and Josh over at StatQuest and other people we can make all the videos we want in the world. But if people don't take the initiative to go out and watch them and take the time to watch them, then it's all for naught. So really the kudos goes to you all. Sarah, it goes to you who take the time, put in the work, go out, find the help you need, sit there, watch the video, take notes, whatever you got, do what you got to do. Whereas other people just won't even put in the effort to sit and watch a video. So really the kudo is for you. So Sarah, I appreciate you much more probably than you could, ever thank me. I really can thank you. I can't thank you enough. So thank you. All right. Let's see. Can K and N be used for regression problem? I've never used it that way. So, K nearest neighbors is really, well, it can maybe be used as an intermediate step, right? So K nearest neighbors is just that, about finding the nearest neighbors for sort of a given data point. Used for regression, I personally can't see a case where that might be implemented like that, but doesn't mean that it can't be. So if anyone else in the chat wants to chime in on this sort of topic, that's kind of what I think of it, but I'll leave it up to the chat as well. However, I'm going to write that on my notepad here. So as you can see, look, this is my notepad that I have here, and I write down, your comments and ideas. I can get back to them, hopefully. All right. Okay. All right. So I feel sometimes transformation throws people off when presenting to management. Yes, and that's the thing. When data is transformed into something beyond its original, scale or whatever else, we have to be very, very careful about how we work with that transformed data throughout our process. And of course, at the end, when we communicate those findings back to any stakeholders, what we're probably going to have to do is reverse the transformation and then speak in the term of the original units or original measurement, right? So we just need to be careful with how we work those variables through a process and then communicate them on the back end. I think one of the videos I did was talking about the multiplicative inverse of sales. Well, you can't say that in a presentation, can you? Right? So we need to go back to original. All right, I'm kind of rambling now. Hello, Yogendra. Yogendra. I think that's how I'm saying that, hopefully correctly. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so I do want to make sure we try this thing. So I'm asking for your help, and it won't take long. Okay, I promise. But I do need your help to see if this is going to work. So here's how we're going to do this. So you will need your phone, computer, tablet, whatever you got. I'm going to put this up here. All right. Like that. Okay. So here's how this is going to work. I need you all to, I'll put it in the chat as well. All right. Go to this URL. Okay. It's ahaslides.com. And then there's this code JL9UH. Okay. So I'm going to get into there, make it like full screen. So what this is, before we kind of get going, and you can see the URL up here. Okay, please. You can see the URL up there. And what this is, it's kind of like it's kind of a mix of Kahoot / it could be used as like a PowerPoint, it could be used as like a polling sort of thing. And what I want to do is begin by testing it out. Okay. So all you really have to do is go in to that URL, put in the code on your phone, whatever else. And then the way this is going to work is I will sort of advance it. It'll be like a leaderboard and stuff like that. And I want to see sort of how this works. Okay. So this is a test. This is definitely a work in progress, but you all are incredible. You all are awesome. So me being able to help you out here, you all being able to help me out would be sort of fantastic. All right. And I will get back to the chat after this because this will not take very long. Okay. This will not take very long. All right. Here we go. Let's do this test. You all are incredibly awesome for helping me out with this. Okay. So, oops, don't want to do that. So what word or words best describe your experience or feelings about the current job market? So the few of you that are in there, try to put in a word if you can. Okay. I'm going to Okay, I'm going to go ahead and redo the counter there. So, what words best describe your experience or feelings about the current job market? So, at least one person put a word in there so I can tell. Hey, it works. Lovely. It works. Cheers, indifferent. So the current job market is cheers or indifferent. I like it. I'll put me back up there so you can see my face. We can do nature cam. There's nature cam. All right. So cheers or indifferent. All right. Not bad. Excellent. Okay. So that's how that works. It's like a little keyword sort of thing. Thank you all. All right. Here's a little bit different kind of question. From 1 to 5, rate your skill or knowledge, comfort with the following aspects of statistics or data science, machine learning, etc. So mathematics, programming, communicating results, domain knowledge. So domain knowledge means like whatever field you work in, and then data visualization. I'm going to extend the time on this as well. There we go. So while you all do that, they're in there. So one of the reasons I'm trying to try out different tools to make this more interactive, it helps me learn a bit about where you are in your journey, learning these things, or in the job market, or in your current job, or whatever else it might be. It helps me learn about the state of the field, and these sorts of things help me in terms of YouTube and things like that plan where I might want to go with the channel. So this is a way to respect your all's privacy because it's just, you know, it's just it's anonymous, I guess, but to get some feedback about how you feel about certain things. So from 1 to 5, rate your skill and knowledge, comfort, and I will say you get to learn about other people, right? So when we do something like this, you can see the extent to which other people are sharing your similar journey, sharing your story, your challenges, and things like that. So this helps all of us, you know. I just want to see how this sort of tool works, and go from there. So, all right, a few more seconds remaining on this one. So it appears, at least as of now, you're most comfortable with your domain knowledge and least comfortable with the mathematics of these things, which does not surprise me all that much at all. And look at these pretty beautiful curves. All right. So what can we learn about this? You know, obviously this is a small sample, but we can see that domain knowledge tends to be bimodal. So we have people that are very comfortable with their domain knowledge and not as comfortable. Programming, that's interesting. The programming side of things is on the low end. So our least comfort with the programming side of things. Communicating results is kind of there in the middle. And then data viz is kind of all over the place. So cool. So that is very interesting. I'm glad that worked out very well. Let's move on. All right. So here is where you can put ideas for the next topic playlist for my YouTube channel. So, and I want to say playlist. Okay. Playlist. So it has to be some sort of topic, not an individual video, but like a topic. So I don't want to, you know, I don't want to speak for you, but things like time series would be a topic, you know, design of experiments would be a topic, intro to machine learning would be a topic, anything like that. So any topics you might have. So probability, thank you for putting that in there, probability. And the cool thing is about I can look at all those results here in one place and then like have the data, have the artifact of what you all sort of want to do. So very good. So probability, experiment, design of experiments. Okay. Excellent. I'll leave this open for maybe another minute or so. So more ANOVA example, sample size determination. Okay. Okay, multivariate analysis, stochastic processes. Excellent. Okay. Awesome. You all are thank you all so much for helping me out with this. I can't express my gratitude enough for you all hanging around here and helping me with this and get your ideas about what you want. So let's see here. While we're doing this, check on Nature Cam. Nature Cam was looking for. Oh, my neighbor's outside. It's kind of weird having a camera on my neighbor. So I'm gonna switch. All right. So here's what we'll do next. Next is voting. So what I'm gonna do is put voting, and then what you can do is put, I think it's maximum of 3 thumbs up on the ones that you really think are, you can vote on other people's, I guess you could vote on your own, but you could, vote on other people's ideas. So I'll leave that open for a minute. And yeah, I hope everyone's having a good experience with this. It seems to work pretty well. And this is my first time ever using this tool. Okay, so while you're all voting and everything, I was looking for a tool to have more interaction with you and kind of gather some data formally with what you'd want to do and things like that. So this is the one I sort of came up with, and it seems to work pretty well from what I can see. So, all right. So I'll leave this open for maybe another minute. Not maybe another minute, maybe a little bit. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move on so we can keep going. All right. So it would appear that multivariate analysis, stochastic processes, design analysis of experience, sampling theory, that is like 5 different topics. That's 5 different topics. You're evil people. No, I'm just kidding. So design of experiments, ML. Okay. So I can download this now and use that to plan. All right. So, okay. So that is one component of this tool is like feedback. So the slider ratings, like the idea boards and things like that is one element. And another element of this tool I would like you to help me assess to figure out if it's a good tool or not is like some light quizzing. All right. So for this little, there is some slight simple calculations, but you can actually do them by hand. They're that simple. You got to know some things about stats, but nothing crazy. All right. And so you can get prepared. The way this works, it's kind of like Kahoot or another tools where you get more points the faster you answer correctly, of course, but you can take all the time you would want. Okay. So, ready? Let's try this stuff out. I might have to extend the time on some of these because I think I've underestimated how much time they might take. All right. Okay. So I think you're all in here. I'm going to go ahead and start it. All right. Here we go. It's only 10 questions, so don't worry. All right. This famous statistician is known for the quote, "All models are wrong, but some are useful." Now, this is a tricky one because you have to know not only the person. I'll extend this a little bit. I can't. Just guess. Hey, here we go. So that, of course, is George Box. So who always said, all models are wrong, but some are useful. I think this is Durbin. I think it's Fisher. I want to say I put these in here, but I can't remember exactly all of them. I know that's George Box. These faces are very memorable. All right. I think that's Cox. I could be wrong. Okay. Here we go. LOL. Perfect. See how this works? All right. So here we go. Two confidence intervals, A and B. If the sample sizes are the same, which one has the larger standard deviation? See? So, two confidence intervals. Which one has the largest standard deviation? All right. The correct answer is B. Correct. So, the difference, the interval there, for the first one, the interval is 6.3, and the second one, the interval is 7.95. So All else being equal, that means that the larger interval here, because the sample sizes are the same, remember, this larger interval means that it has a larger standard deviation. All right? So, awesome. So you all are kicking some booty. All right. The numbers are the same. There's a hint. The numbers are the same. So given the same two confidence intervals, if the deviations are the same, which has the larger sample size? Sorry, a little dry mouth there. All right. Same numbers, different question. A. That is correct. So remember, now it's flipped. So now the standard deviations are the same, which has the larger n. So remember, the interval for the first one was 6.3, and the interval for the second one 7.95. So if the deviations are the same, that narrower interval means larger n. Okay? So as the sample size increases, the confidence interval, all else being equal, becomes narrower in terms of the absolute values. All right. Keep going. Uh-oh. It's getting very, very competitive. Okay. All right. When would it be meaningful to calculate a confidence interval estimate when the data consists of the entire population? Wait for your answers. I'm sorry, I have an itch in my throat. Let's see. This should be a fairly easy one. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Aha, trickery. So, when would it be meaningful to calculate a confidence interval estimate when the data consists of the entire population? See? That's the key there. The entire population. For an entire population, we don't need confidence intervals because confidence intervals are based on sample data. Because remember, each sample is going to have its own sort of randomness to it. We're not measuring the entire population, so that sample is going to have the confidence interval. For the entire population, we don't need one. All right. Okay. Here we go. So 4% of a simple random sample of 890 people say they drive for Uber. What is the midpoint for a 98% confidence interval estimate of the proportion? All right, here we go. Nope. All right, so in this one, it's actually a semi-trick question. So 4% of a simple random sample of whatever, doesn't matter, it's going to be 4%. So the center of the confidence interval is always going to be that proportion of 4%, which is 0.04. All right. Almost there. Again, thank you all so much for your help. When making an inference about a population mean, which of the following suggests the use of the z-scores rather than the student t distribution or t scores? All right, just a couple of questions left. So let's see here. Make an inference about a population mean. Z-scores or ND-scores? Very good. When the population standard deviation is known, that's when we would use Z-scores. And I actually had a really good question. I think it was on YouTube about, well, if we knew the population standard deviation, then why would we use, why would we use any T? Why would we have to make an estimate about the population, the mean? The thing is oftentimes we will use a population standard deviation based on prior data, prior research, prior studies, or we just assume that it is something, and then from there on we can use Z. Okay, so I know it seems counterintuitive, but we can use Z scores or the standard normal distribution if we know that standard deviation from something else. All right. Almost there. I'm trying different types of questions this thing will generate, so that's why we're kind of like doing one of each. Okay. In general, decreasing the sample size by a factor of 2, so having it, leads to what change in the confidence interval size? So decreasing the sample size by a factor of 2. What change in the confidence interval size? Hey, I'll see. This is the thing. If we're all getting it right, then we're not learning. We multiply the confidence interval by 1.4, in this case, 1.414. It's actually the square root of that factor. So in this case, it's the square root of 2. So we decrease the sample size by a factor of 2. Pick the square root of 2. That's 1.414. So that we multiply the interval by 1.414, and that's what the new interval would be if we halved it. So, all right, almost done. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. A few more. Again, thank you all very much for your help. Match the acronym or shorthand with its full term. If we can't get this one, we're in trouble, all of us. So, but this is sort of a matching option in this software. So I just wanted to check out how it worked on your end. And of course, when we're all done with this, I'm going to get your feedback in the normal chat, normal live stream. There we go. So obviously KNN is K nearest neighbors, SVM support vector machines. Of course, there is SVC, which is support vector classifier, working classification, PCA principal component analysis, and SGD stochastic gradient descent. Excellent. All right, and then almost there. So 5 student test scores are as follows. What is the sample variance? Oh, why did I make that so short? I'm so sorry. That was my problem. Okay. So that's my fault. Okay. That's my fault. 125 was the answer. So sorry. I don't know why I set that so short. Okay. The numbers are the same for this. So what's the standard deviation with the same numbers? If the variance was 125. Okay. So yeah, the sample of variance was 125. Sample of variance 125. Take the square root of that to get the standard deviation, which is 11.18. The timing on these was totally my fault. I do apologize. That is a lesson learned. And the next time I do this, I will know that. All right. Yogendra, congratulations. If I had anything to give you, I would, but I do not have anything to give you. So congratulations. Thank you very much. That is awesome. All right. The end. All right. So I'm going to get out of there and close that. All right. So for those of you who have participated in that, I wanted to get your feedback on not only the tool itself, like how was the user experience on your end if you were using your computer, phone, or whatever else, but just some general feedback and having something a bit more interactive. It won't always be that way. I was trying out different features in that tool. That's why there were different types of questions and stuff like that, just to check the experience on each one. So it won't always be like that or look like that, but I just want to get your general feedback. So you can put that in the chat. I would appreciate it. And then I will go back to this. All right. Back to the chat. So Supam, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Sorry about my voice. I think it's just dry air. It's killing me. So, love from India, passed my semester because of your videos on hypothesis. Well, thank you very much for that comment, Shubham. But you passed your semester because of you. You did it. And people like me are just there to offer resources. It's up to you whether or not to take them. So the kudos goes to you. Yep, that's my voice is killing me, obviously. So congratulations on passing your semester, but you did all the hard work. Okay. Can I share those 10 questions with us? Maybe I will have to go in and see if that can be exported. Okay. So, but if I can, I will. Just check on LinkedIn or maybe on YouTube, I guess. I'll try to figure out a way to communicate that, but I'll see if I can export them. Okay. So feedback. Okay, if I'm playing a video, not live or with some lag, I can't answer in time. Okay, so that is good to know that there's a bit of a lag there. I'm not sure if the lag is in my end, the experience on my end. But I will accommodate that by making the time to answer longer. Is what I will do. Okay. All right. Yogendra. G as in garden. So Yogendra. So hopefully I'm saying it correctly now. Thank you for correcting me. And again, if I try to say your name and don't get it right, let me know, and I will do my best to correct that. All right. All right. Yeah, some correct answers didn't count for a mark, which was me. Okay. So because of the potential lag, what I will do is extend the time. Okay, and see where that goes. All right. So great tool and a way to encourage subs to keep hitting the books. Yeah, I'm never quite sure if people want to come to the live stream to like learn or review or just chat or whatever else. And the goal is it's not like a test. It's just like, well, part of it's fun, but part of it's interactive. And I try to make the questions more conceptual that I put in there, as you could see. There wasn't any like real calculations that sit for like 5 minutes and calculate something. What I was trying to do is just make it a bit more interactive and review some topics. If it goes too long, people won't keep going. So I'm trying to find the topics, the type of questions to ask, and the length of the whole thing. So all right, so maybe sharing a topic in advance and come prepared for it. This will motivate a study in advance. I could do that, but the point is this is not something I really want anyone to study for. It's not like a a quiz or a test. It's more like a game, right? It's for fun, but it's also to learn a few things along the way, review a few things along the way conceptually, ask questions in a different way than we might get them. That's kind of the goal. So yeah, so that's kind of the goal behind it, is not really to quiz anybody, but to make it fun, and interactive. So yeah, so there, Pushman says there some lag at my end. There's always lag in live streaming. So the time between when I say something into this microphone and when you hear it, there's many seconds of time between, because it has to go through, the interweb, my system, and then the interwebs and everything else, and there's a natural lag into all that. So all right. Let's see. Inform me if I come here to India. I have a small surprise for you. Okay. So I do hope to get to India here someday. Obviously with COVID and variants of COVID, it's hard to plan any travel. There are worse things in the world to give up and lose than traveling, I guess. But I had plans to start doing some more traveling in 2022, before COVID, like even before COVID hit, I was hoping to do some more traveling. Anyway, I was kind of at a point in my life where I could just pick up and go and travel and see different places and visit you all wherever you might be. But obviously COVID has put that to rest. So at least for the time being. So I'm hoping to travel. India's on top of my list to go different places. So if I travel, you all will be the first to know. Trust me. So, all right. What else we got going on here? SW, good morning. First time attending your live stream. Thank you, SW, for swinging by the live stream. If you're coming to the live stream now, we did a few different things. I do have some different cam views now. So here is the main camera. This is the white. So whenever you see me dive for books, that's where I'm diving. I dive off screen before. Be like, hey, a book. That's where I'm going, is that stack of books over there. So you can see all my sort of stats books are there, my calc books, linear algebra, and then some of the data ones are down below. But that's where I have another bookcase there. So whenever you ask me about a book, that's where I dive over to the side. And then we do have Nature Cam. Nature Cam is looking good out back in the backyard. So again, this is a camera that's wireless, and it's actually a really good camera on a wireless HDMI. So in the future, what I can do more like, behind the scenes stuff and take you around, I guess, the house or whatever else at some point. But also it allows me to do demonstrations, to do some hands-on stuff. I have a lot of ideas. I'm a very big proponent of teaching statistics and other things hands-on, almost in a sciencey way. So I have a lot of ideas about ways to teach concepts in a way that's more interactive and kind of demonstrative. So growing up, one of, if not my favorite show growing up in the 1980s. So yes, see my gray hair on this side. Growing up in the 80s was a show on Nickelodeon called Mr. Wizard. And Mr. Wizard, the show on Nickelodeon, was all about like science experiments, like teaching concepts through experimentation, but also sort of inductively in reverse, where the kid that Mr. Wizard was with, they do an experiment, but the child, young adult, would not know exactly what they were doing. Like they do an experiment, and then the student had to reason backwards through what they observed, what the idea of the experiment was, and what concepts we're trying to get across. So a very simple example would be to blow up a balloon, tie it off, and then put it in the refrigerator or somewhere cool. And of course, the balloon would shrink and in volume. And the student would have to figure out and make the connection between the volume of a gas and temperature. But he wouldn't tell them that. So this is a long roundabout way of me saying having the ability to have a camera that I can move around allows me to do more demonstration type stuff. And I just set it up this way today to test the technology because it's actually wireless. Like I'm in the front of my house. That's in the back of my house. It's coming through wireless. So I wanted, my neighbor is still out there doing leaves. That's my neighbor's dog. That's Zoe. I love my neighbor's dog, Zoe. You can see Zoe over there. She is such a fun dog. Love playing with Zoe. I didn't expect them to be out in the backyard today, but we're all doing leaves, I guess. All right. So what else we got? That's the gist. That's why I was doing what I was doing before. Okay. I bought the book. You recommended Statistics for Business and Economics. Yes. So that is, oh, we have some more. We have reached book question time of the live stream. So I can grab some books. All right. Don't judge me. I have on sweatpants. All right. So this one right there. And then this one. So, oop, hit my microphone. So full disclosure, as you all, most of you know by now, I work for Cengage. It's my day job. And so this is the book being referenced here. And oh, look at this. I can actually do this. There we go. So this is the one we're talking about now. So this is Stats for Business and Economics. I work on this book. It's my day job. Well, one of many books, but this is one of the books I work on in my day job. But I was using this book, like I said, I was using this book many, many years before I even knew Cengage existed. This is the book I taught from when doing all my tutoring and stuff like that. So this is always the one I recommend for people who are new to stats because of how clearly it's written. That's why I used it back in like its 10th edition. The 10th edition, I think, was all white. It could be 10th or 11th, was all white. And I used it to tutor and teach with many, many, many years ago, well before I ever worked at Cengage. And they had no idea that I used it to teach, right? Or tutor. But the clarity with how this is written, that's why I recommend that one. Okay. All right. And then, yeah, this is the 14th edition, but you know, the 13th, if you can find that use or whatever for your reference material, it's authors change between 10 and 15% of the problems and stuff, edition to edition. That's about the general sort of rule, and add some features and add stuff like that. So we've had the newest editions have a little bit of R in them, but basically the content, the narrative is largely the same. So this is the 14th edition, but you can find the 13th, whatever. And then let's see. So Yogendra, hope I'm saying that properly, for econometrics. So this is the book I have for econometrics. Okay. It's Wooldridge. You can see that. This is the one I use for econometrics. I have as a reference. So a very popular book. It has kind of like the right amount of math in it. If I can hold that up. Okay. So this is a good book for econometrics that I can recommend. Again, it's a Cengage book, and I'm not here to promote Cengage books. That's not why I do the YouTube channel. They're two separate things. So Cengage does not ask me to do anything like this, and I don't ask them to promote me in any way. So yes, so this is econometrics. This is the Wooldridge, and this book is the 6th. So I'm sure it's probably, if not by now, in the 8th edition. This is an older edition that I have. All right. So those are a couple of books I have to show, given the questions. All right, and I'll zoom back out. And that's so much fun. All right. All right. We're back here. We're about at an hour, which is how I kind of like to cap these live streams. But I do want to get back to the chat because we've had a lot of questions. So the book for stats for beginner intermediate level, that was one I held up. That would be the statistics for business and economics. This one. I guess I could just do this, but then I couldn't use my other camera. So that's the one for that. for business intermediate. For beginner or intermediate, largely because of the clarity in which it is written. It's written very well. Okay. All right. See, applied Python and R instead would be a great learning material. Yeah. Gihan, I do apologize if I'm getting the name incorrect. Yeah, Python and R are always tough for me for two reasons. One, there's so much material already out there. I'm not sure if my addition to it would be really anything new because there's so much. I mean, it's almost infinite, the amount of material out there in those things already. Two, I don't use Python or R a lot. There are tools on the shelf. When I need them, I pull them out and use them, but I don't sort of use them day to day. So that makes me not as good as prepared to teach them necessarily as the material I'm more familiar with. That's another reason. As far as Stata goes, I do believe Stata is proprietary, so I don't have access to that, unfortunately. So it would have to be stuff that I have access to or is open source. All right. You are very welcome. Thank you. All right. Other than R, Python, SAS, MATLAB, what programming language would one know in AI, ML, and data science? Well, that's pretty much all of them. I think I see in general, things moving towards R and Python and even more towards Python over time. It's R is great at what it does. It's fantastic at specifically what it does and was designed to do. Python is more general, so it can do those things plus a lot more. So what I'm sort of seeing is like in higher education, at least here in the US, universities tend to focus on R because it's somewhat more contained, I guess. It kind of does its thing really, really well. And then Python is always there. But I think, at least in higher education, some people are afraid to go into the Python rabbit hole because it's so much broader in what it can do. And sometimes it's easier to teach students with something that's a bit more self-contained. Plus, you have to think too, not every instructor that teaches these things, stats or whatever else in higher education especially, sort of went through their education learning these, unless they're, on the younger side. So it can be tough there as well. So I think focusing on R and or Python is plenty. Plus, as I've discussed on this live stream before, is once you learn one, there are similarities to others. So once you learn R and or Python, picking up the other is easier because while the syntax of the languages aren't exactly the same, some of their structures are very similar. So you kind of know like how to do a loop, and one is very similar to how you would do a loop in the other, in sort of a common implementation. So once you learn one, picking up the other is easier. And I tend to see that R and Python is the way to go. Also, evidence of that is how many proprietary software companies, so like Microsoft with Excel and Power BI, Tableau, and others, are actually integrating R and Python into their proprietary software. So what does that tell you? So once these other proprietary software companies allow R and Python scripting and coding into their software, that tells you where things are going, at least in my opinion. So I think learning those, especially this learning one is plenty, you know. But it may be um, it may be the fact that the field you work in or the discipline you work in might require you to know one versus another, or has sort of some sort of standard tool they use in the field. So you might do some research to see, is it worth your while learning one versus the other based on whatever field you're going into. Okay. So, all right. Let's see. So, also, how much of sampling and design of experiments are used in data science? Well, in data science is a very broad term. But the question is, how much of sampling and design of experiments are used in data science correctly? Correctly, because you know, um, that's the hard part, right? So I've seen many cases where, the sampling techniques were biased, or, obviously political polling is a perfect example of that. If you're doing political polling and your sampling is screwed up, your results are going to be garbage, which we have seen in the past all over the world. So it's really about doing sampling and design of experiments correctly in data science, and that can be a bit harder to do. But I will say I don't think the concepts are all that challenging. You know, so whatever you're trying to sample or whatever experiment you're trying to design, you got to make sure your sampling is random if that's sort of what you're sampling. Your design of experiment has to make sure that, depending on, again, on the design, that your blocks or your groups that you're looking at are representative, that they aren't biased. You have one type of observation more than the other, and so you can stratify that or whatever else. So it's about using it properly. And I do think it's underrated. I do think these ideas of sampling and design of experiments are underrated. And back to the political polling example I used, that this is where statistics and data science and all these other disciplines interface with real life. Like back in the day when there were no cell phones and everyone just had a landline, depending on where you are in the world, it's had a landline. That was a whole lot different, sort of situation than now when, trying to reach people on their phones to do political polling or call blocking software or whatever else. It's hard. It can be really difficult sometimes to get good samples that are representative of the population you are trying to study. So there are some real structural problems with some of these sorts of things as well. In addition to the data privacy regulations that have been put into place, that makes data hard to get as well. So, it's about designing your experiment, designing your study with all those things in mind. And I could talk about that forever, obviously, but I won't. All right. Let's see here. Yes, the new CEO of Twitter from IIT Bombay, one of the most prestigious institutes in India. Do you think colleges play a role here, or is it something else that set these students apart? Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, I am not, all that really knowledgeable at all about the learning institutes in India. It's a very, very large country. I do believe India will be, if I saw correctly, India will have the largest population in the world in the next 10 years, I think. I could have mixed that up with something else. I am not at all knowledgeable about the education system in India at all. I want to learn that, but I don't know it enough. So as far as this question goes, do colleges play a role here? If you're referring to here as in India, It's hard for me to say. I really can't say. If there are other people in the chat that want to chime in on this topic, please feel free to do so. But what I will say this about the larger aspect of higher education. And I know Elon Musk kind of has made some, comments about higher education and things of that nature. While I see his points on some things, I disagree with his points in other things. So, there are many things you can learn, many valuable things you can learn without going to a higher education institution. There are amazing certificate programs and other types of things out there where you can learn a lot. You can learn at your own pace, quickly or slowly, and things of that nature. What I've always thought, what I've always felt is that oftentimes the value in higher education actually comes after it. So the part of the value of higher education, and I'm talking like, if at all possible, in-person education, is that it plugs you into a network, that inserts you into a network that can have more value over the long run of your life than any piece of paper. So there are so many things that are gained by being part of a higher education experience. Obviously, the classes and the learning are one thing, but it's also the people you meet, the networks you are plugged into. If you are at an institution that does research, you can partner with faculty to work on their research with them. Obviously, the social aspects of going to an institution like that, but there are just so many other things that come along with it. It's not only about the learning and everything, which is very important, should be the primary thing, but there's also many other things that come along with it. So it's hard to say, what the value is. Of course, it also comes down to what a person makes of the opportunity that they are in. So, for example, a student who goes to a higher education institution. So here I am wearing my University of Cincinnati shirt today. You can see here. If someone goes to the University of Cincinnati down the road, but doesn't do anything when they get there, then it's useless. However, if someone goes into an online program or a certificate program and kicks ass, then it's worth it. So it all depends also on what the student does there while they're there. All right. So complex question. Unfortunately, I can't speak on the educational system in India because I don't know really anything about it, but I do want to learn. But what sets any student apart in the long run are several things, in my opinion. One, it is obviously performance, but it's also the people management side of things. Being a good worker, being a good colleague, trying to stay out of office politics as much as possible, even though it really is impossible, and making the most of the opportunity. But also, I think people who do, in the long run, succeed, take calculated risks, not reckless risks, take calculated risks, have a plan for kind of where they want to go, a general outline for where they want to go so they know where to step, as they proceed forward. They are lifelong learners who are never satisfied with what they know. They're always looking to learn more. And I think those things, and I will add, there's a little bit of luck. There's a little bit of luck, there's some luck that you can control or make more probable, and there's some luck that's completely random. But it's a mix of things. But I do think going into higher education, even given the cost, well, that's teetering right now, whether or not it might be worth it or not because of the cost. But that's a complex issue too, which I could talk about forever. But going into higher education does carry with it other benefits besides just strictly learning something. There are other things around it that make that valuable. in the short and long run. All right. So there's some topics you all have raised that I could talk about for hours. All right. This is kind of a bit off topic. Yogendra says, I'm trying to buy teas through Spring, but it's not giving option to tender money in Indian currency. Is it because they couldn't be delivered here in India? Yes, that is a limitation of Spring. So those of you who don't know, I do have a merchandise shop where I have some very somewhat hokey, some of them t-shirts and other things that I've designed just for fun that help support the channel. It's through Spring, but it's on my YouTube channel. You can kind of see the link to the store there. But that's a limitation of Spring. They can only deliver to certain countries, I guess. I'm not sure if it's because of their own business model or shipping costs or whatever else it might be, but that's them. They can only deliver to certain places. So I do know in the past that I've seen cases where other individuals had someone in a country that Spring will ship to, order it, and then that person ships it to the end user. So unfortunately, that is a limitation of Spring. All right, a few more minutes. You are very welcome, my friend. You are very welcome. I do want to put this up here before I share this. Super chats and PayPal tips are welcome. I do put that up here because it does help the channel. This is something that I mainly do for free. I make a little bit of money on YouTube, but it's nothing like you might think. So super chats, PayPal tips. My PayPal tip jar link is in the top of my channel header on YouTube, and of course, super chats work here on YouTube chat. So every dollar helps. So every $1.25 is a minute of captions on my videos. That's how you can think of it. All right. And it helps pump me full of coffee because I go up the coffee shop and get jacked up on caffeine and make videos for you. Okay. Right. So yeah, some big institutes do ask for tier 1 graduates. Yeah. So depends on the requirements of whatever institutes and then eventually whatever jobs are going into. All right. Could you please make some videos about mathematical while I'm reading this question? We have more people in the chat now. If you haven't already, tell me where you're watching from. All right. Videos about mathematics behind statistics, like proofs, theories, equations, and how they come about. The honest answer to that question is probably not. Boudica, hope I'm saying that correctly. 2 reasons why. One, to be quite honest, my interest doesn't lie in that, me personally. 2, there are other people that have done a lot of that stuff already, and once you kind of go through that, it is what it is. And 3, a lot of the mathematics has been usurped by technology. So the need beyond curiosity, or unless you're doing like a PhD in statistics or mathematics or something like that, where this is part of like the job is to derive these sort of equations and proofs and theories. The mathematics has become internalized into computers and machines. So, 30, 40, 50 years ago, where everything was done basically by hand, with some rudimentary computing at first, the need for all that kind of stuff is a little bit less now than it was then, even though those mathematics have to be coded into a package or whatever else into software. Beyond that, the mathematics of these things is somewhat less important than it was, at least in my opinion, before. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying that everyone only has so much bandwidth in terms of the things they learn and work on, stuff like that. And now, because of computing, these things are a bit less at the front of what people want to learn. So I will probably not go into a whole lot of those things. However, what I do do That sounds really bad. What I do is show how these equations work if you change something. So if we change the denominator, what happens to the overall output of the equation? Or if I change the numerator or this constant, what happens to the output? So I try to show how changing parts of equations result in a change in the output and what that can teach us. So those type of things I do all the time, but probably not in this sort of detail. Okay. All right. So how often do you offer live streams? I'd love to attend more in the future. So as of right now, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I live stream every other week. So every 2 weeks. So the next live stream will be on December 18th. So that's 14 days from now. And then barring any holidays, it's every 2 weeks. Now, the way to know that is I will always post the live stream on YouTube between 3 or 4 days in advance. So like on the Wednesday or Tuesday of that week, that's going to come up on that Saturday. Same thing on LinkedIn. So it will pop up on YouTube and LinkedIn 3 or 4 days before the actual live stream. But in general, it's every 2 weeks. Now, that being said, because of the Christmas holiday and New Year's, it's going to be a bit different over the next month because I'm not going to like live stream on Christmas Day and then New Year's Day. Most likely I'm not going to live stream on New Year's Day. So it'll be offset a little bit. But in general, every 2 weeks. I'm a very remote part of South Louisiana. New Orleans is one of my favorite cities in the world. I know there is more to Louisiana than New Orleans, but I love, 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 love New Orleans. Love it. I won't go there in the summer. I will not go in the summer, but I will go, from October through March or April. Been down there twice in the past few years and had a blast, obviously. I won't go into more details on that, but had a blast in New Orleans. So thank you for swinging by. Okay. From Delhi, India. Excellent. Excellent. That's awesome. So many viewers from India. I love you all so, so much. All right. Let me turn that off. I'm sure that's probably annoying everybody. All right. So we've been doing this for about an hour and 20 minutes. So as a recap, I do want to give you all your day back, and I thank you all for stopping around. So production value of the channel. I am adding some new things to the channel, like some new camera angles, which, make things a bit interesting. You can kind of see behind the scenes here. So where I'm at and stuff like that. So that, and then we have, like I said, we have Nature Cam out back. This is just a remote camera I can eventually actually pick up and move around with and show you things with, but I'm just testing the wireless aspects of it. So awesome. And then we tried the Aha Slides interactive tool, which I think worked pretty well. People were able to enter their answers or their feedback into that. So I might try that again next live stream. Change some of the timing on it, but I think it worked fairly well from what I could tell. All right. Greetings from the H-Town. What is the H-Town? Did you already tell me? What is the H-Town? All right. Let's see here. Adobe Premiere Pro now has auto caption features. You can save some bucks there. So the challenge is that I've tried these sorts of auto captioning things. For my type of content and similar content, they don't work very well because of the technical nature of the content. So it might caption something like this very well, but when I am talking about, mathematical equations, or I'm bringing up names, things are named after people, or talking about other types of stuff, the auto caption things just get really wrong, very confused, and I spend more time having to correct the auto captions, then it's worth saving money. So, oh yeah. So it's easier, it's much easier in terms of time and everything to have it professionally captioned because I provide a PDF of what of the slides, and then they have the video so they can actually meet up the two, and the captions are perfect. So while there is some auto captioning software out there, it's only really good at very sort of typical things that you talk about. We're talking about math and statistics and other stuff. It doesn't do so well on technical things. All right. All right. I'm from Sri Lanka. Grateful for your extremely supportive videos. By the way, I'm inspired by you all. Thank you so much. You and Boudica, you inspire me more than you could ever know. So thank you for coming by the channel, and thank you for your support and for inspiring me to keep going. That's why I keep going. So thank you. The one and only Houston H-Town. Oh, that's right. I should have thought about that. The thing is, when you're talking like a global audience, H-Town can mean a lot of things. Like it's Hamburg or something. So, yep, Houston. I've been to almost every city in Texas, major city in Texas, but Houston, oddly enough. So I'm sure I will make it there someday. All right. So I think we're good. So live stream again in 2 weeks on December 18th. I might do like a holiday themed something. And look, we're a whole world. We all have different traditions and celebrations. I'm not a religious person at all, but I still celebrate Christmas with my family and friends and stuff like that. So, we might have like a holiday-ish sort of theme or celebration to the live stream on the 18th, but it's about hanging out. It's about talking to each other and things like that. If you don't follow me on LinkedIn, please do that. You can follow me or connect with me. Just send me a little note to say, hey, watch on your live stream, and I can go ahead and add you there. So, yeah, so please make sure you follow me on LinkedIn if you don't already. That's a good place to keep up with some of the other stuff that I'm doing and working on. And yeah, we're gonna keep this going. Ooh, the chat is all right. Zimbabwe, awesome. Bruce, I would assume I'm saying Bruce correctly, but from Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for coming by, and it's so good to see you. Yeah. So what else we got here? Last few things. Next time you in New Orleans, drinks and gumbo are on me. Deal. Deal. Be careful what you promise. All right. Got to sleep now. It's around midnight here. Yes, I know it's very late in certain parts of the world. So I appreciate you stopping by because I know it's late. All right. Catch you later. Wonderful. Full of nod. You are very welcome. All right. So I'm going to shut down the live stream. I'm going to go up and sit my behind on the couch and watch college football all day. It's a huge college football weekend here in the US, and it's glorious. So I'm going to enjoy my day and relax. So again, thank you all so much for stopping by. I hope you like some of the new things in the channel. You kind of see some of the cool stuff going on and some nature in the process. So I wish you all the best and happiness the rest of your day. Please stay safe out there. Please stay safe out there. We have a new COVID variant that's going around, obviously. So, please just do whatever you can to take care of yourself and those around you. And we're just going to try to keep getting through this the best we can. All right. So, there's one last question here, as promised. Do you believe all the stats material you put in your channel is needed for machine learning? No, it's not. So when you get into machine learning type of things, well, it depends on how far you want to go back. Because yes, obviously in ML applications, you're going to deal with things like linear regression, logistic regression, and things like that. However, some things in statistics are not one-to-one one-to-one correspondence or compatible with, like, everyday machine learning. It's like confidence intervals. You're not gonna see, like, confidence intervals in most machine learning applications. Are they good to know to help you understand the assumptions and the background and stuff that goes into something like that? Yes. And I do think there are opportunities for people to kind of marry the two and bring more classic stats into ML applications, because oftentimes it's just a black box. We throw some data at it and say, hey, let's do 5-fold cross validation, and it'll spit out whatever. It'll spit out R squared, or spit out, some sort of confusion matrix, whatever application you're doing. And that's it. We just stop there. So there are ways to sort of merge the two, but I do think if you're just talking about machine learning, like specifically, then things like linear regression and logistic regression, and to some degree, maybe some design of experiments, that's really where it picks up statistics. But I do think knowing it is beneficial. Hope that makes sense. All right. You are very welcome. All right. So I promised that I would actually end. This has been an hour and a half live stream. So thank you so much for testing out these new things with me. The technology seems to work okay. The AHA slides seem to work okay. So I'm going to try to work on that, maybe improve it for the next time. But I do appreciate sort of being testers for me on this. And I wish you all the health and happiness the rest of the day and in the days to come. So take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.